If you're headed to Disney World this month, this summer, or anytime this year, there's a lot you gotta be prepared for. It's time to set your expectations so you aren't caught in a sticky situation. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Things in Disney World are changing a lot, and it can be hard to stay on top of all the news and policy updates that are going to affect your vacation. Today, I'm going to break down what you should and shouldn't expect when you visit the parks right now, and I'm going to talk about the stuff that might be different in a month or 6 months so you know what might change before you end up in the Magic Kingdom. We got a lot to cover, so let's dive in. We've got a lot of info here to help you get up to speed on what's going on in Disney World right now, and I don't want you to forget any of it. So we've made a totally free cheat sheet for you with all the info that's in this video. Just head to disneyfoodblog.com/expectations to get your copy, and we'll also sign you up for our totally free newsletter so you can get any of the latest updates sent directly to your inbox. That's disneyfoodblog.com/expectations. All right, let's talk about changes to health and safety policies. This is probably the big one that's going to be changing a lot over the rest of this year. We're already seeing changes in Disney World on this front right now. The fact of the matter is we just don't know what things will look like this fall or next spring, so you're going to want to constantly be staying up on the latest information if you're traveling to Disney World or anywhere else, really. Disney has regularly been updating all of its health and safety policies in regards to the latest CDC guidelines. Mask policies have been in effect since Disney Springs opened in May 2020. Currently, everyone over the age of 2 must wear a mask at all times unless you're swimming, actively eating, or taking an outdoor photo. You should still remain socially distanced while you have your mask off taking that photo, by the way, and that's a brand new update. Masks must fully cover your nose and mouth and tuck under your chin, and they must be made with at least 2 layers of fabric and secure with ties or loops around your ears. So that means gaiters, masks with vents or holes of any kind, as well as bandanas, do not count as face masks at Disney World. Face coverings with a clear plastic panel over the mouth are allowed so long as they have no openings. Make sure all the masks you're bringing fit within Disney's mask guidelines. We've seen people turned away from the parks with gaiters and bandanas, so they are serious about those policies. Masks are going to stick around for a while. Disney expects that masks and some level of social distancing will stick around through the rest of 2021. And the local mayor has stated that mask mandates won't be relaxed until at least 50% of the county is vaccinated. Right now, 30% is vaccinated. And he's given a rough estimate of mid to late summer for when we might see policy changes in Orange County. Now, entering the parks is different as well. Temperature checks are still mandatory, although we haven't been talking about them a lot, but they're still there. And anyone with a temperature of 100.4 degrees or higher will not be allowed in. They do have you step aside to be re-screened if you do have that higher temperature, but if you've got a fever, both you and your entire party will be denied admission. Recently, we've seen Dollywood do away with temperature screenings, and we'll be following to see if any other U.S. theme parks start updating their policies to follow suit. Dollywood also no longer has an outdoor mask mandate, which is an interesting note for a theme park. Disney's also switched to a touchless security screening system, which is cutting out the bag check process for a lot of people, but keep in mind that several items will still set off those sensors. Umbrellas, phone chargers, other metal items, those may trigger the touchless sensors, and then you'll still need to have your bag checked. So pull these items out of your bag when you enter the park and hold them as you walk through the scanner, or keep them in a clear bag so it's easy for security to check your stuff. Another big policy we expect to change sometime in the next year or so is in regard to resort hopping or visiting the other Disney resorts you aren't staying at. Right now, you need to make a dining reservation in order to visit another hotel. That means you can't visit lounges because they don't have reservations typically, and it can be difficult to even grab food from another resort's quick service restaurant. You can mobile order if you're not staying at the resort, but we're getting varied results from mobile ordering at resorts right now if you're not staying at the resort. So you'll want to be careful about doing that. Now, at times, the policy has been a bit looser. It kind of depends on the situation. But Disney's official policy is that you cannot visit a hotel you aren't staying at unless you have a dining reservation for a restaurant at that hotel. If you're looking for lounges or quick food options that don't require reservations outside of your hotel in the theme parks, then it's time to head to Disney Springs. There's a lot you can do there without making an official dining reservation. Now, Disney's definitely going to be making changes to these policies over the next year as the CDC updates its guidelines, so you'll want to make sure you stay aware of the most up-to-date info leading up to your trip. We cover every single policy update on DisneyFoodBlog.com, as you know, and we're even keeping tabs on what's going on in Florida as well as other travel guidelines that affect those of you in Canada and the UK. Sign up for our newsletter to get all the latest news sent right to your inbox as soon as it's announced. We've got the sign up link in the description, and of course you can see all the latest on Disney's website as well. All right, let's talk more technology. Disney's rolling out some new tech over the course of this next year that you might want to get familiar with before you go. Magic Mobile is a new system within the My Disney Experience app that basically lets you use your phone as your Magic Band. This is good news if you don't want to buy a Magic Band since they're no longer free to hotel guests, or maybe you just don't like wearing one. You can also use your Apple Watch with Magic Mobile, so you can tap into the parks and pay with your linked hotel charging account just by tapping your watch. It is already launched for most Apple users, and it'll be available for Android devices soon. Now, Disney Genie will also be launching sometime this year. This one we actually don't know too much about, but basically it's a planning app that will do most of the heavy lifting for you, according to Disney. From what we know, you'll be able to specify what kind of day or trip you'd like and have the app make recommendations for you for rides, activities, dining, and of course they will make reservations for you. We don't know when it will launch just yet, but we'll be covering any news about how the app works and its release date over at DisneyFoodBlog.com. Oh, that sounded funny when I said that. DisneyFoodBlog.com. Anyway, we'll tell you here on the channel too. All right, transportation updates. Disney is still operating buses, monorails, boats, and the Skyliner at limited capacity. One party per Skyliner gondola and only a few parties per bus, monorail, or boat. That means you'll always get a seat instead of getting crammed onto a crowded Disney bus, but it also means you might wait a long time to get that seat. Each section on Disney's transportation is numbered and separated with plexiglass or other dividers to help keep people distanced. If you have a large group, you may end up sitting in multiple sections. As the CDC relaxes guidelines on social distancing, Disney will likely do away with those plexiglass dividers, but that rollback will likely come after the theme parks are able to up their capacity. So you can expect more people to be trying to fit into those limited transportation spots. That's why it's smart to plan to stay somewhere within walking distance of at least one park so you can avoid some of the Disney transportation. This now includes the Grand Floridian and Polynesian Village Resort, thanks to that relatively new walkway to the Magic Kingdom. And of course, there are several other hotels that you can walk to parks from: Contemporary, Beach Club, Boardwalk, Swan and Dolphin, Yacht Club. Those are all walkable to parks. Or consider driving yourself. Disney's been promoting that resort guests get free theme park parking in order to encourage fewer guests to use Disney transportation to help manage long lines and wait times. You will need to pay to park at your hotel, $15 to $25 a night extra depending on the resort, but you won't need to pay extra to take your car over to the parks, and it could save you a lot of time. By the way, that's not new. People staying at the Disney Resort hotels have never had to pay for parking, but now they're starting to promote that so that people see that they can actually take their own car over and not pay extra. All right, let's talk about reduced perks for hotel guests. This is important to note, especially if you're working those perks into your budgeting. So I already mentioned that Magic Bands aren't free to hotel guests at Disney World anymore, but that's not the only perk that hotel guests are going to miss right now. The big one, there's no extra magic hours right now. That means hotel guests don't get any extra time in the parks, which used to be a big perk of shelling out the extra cash for staying at a Disney hotel instead of staying off-site. Now, Disney has announced that they will be offering something called early entry for hotel guests. It will only be 30 minutes before each official park opening, and that's not a ton of time, but it does let you knock out one or two rides before the rest of the park guests arrive for the day. Unfortunately, we don't know when this hotel perk will start. They announced it a long time ago, but they have not started it yet, and they haven't said anything about it since. So we'll keep you posted, but as of right now, we have no start date for the early theme park entry. Now, obviously, since there's still no Fast Pass happening in the parks, hotel guests aren't going to get a jump on making reservations for the top rides like we used to. There's also no package pickup at hotels right now. You used to be able to make purchases in the park and then have the items sent directly back to your hotel, but Disney has not been offering that service since they reopened. There's not really a lot of perks to staying at a Disney hotel right now versus staying somewhere not owned by Disney, especially if you're not using Disney's transportation. That's something to think about if you're already planning to drive yourself to and from the theme parks and you're looking to save some money. So until Disney brings back some hotel perks, it may make sense to stay somewhere else that's cheaper. Another thing to note for Disney hotel guests, and this is pretty common with a lot of hotel chains right now, you won't get housekeeping every day. You'll just get what they call light housekeeping every other day. So trash is taken out, towels are changed, your sink will get wiped down, just not every single day. All right, now I mentioned transportation is running at limited capacity. Well, right now Disney World parks are operating at around 35% capacity, but it's very likely we'll be seeing that increase in the near future, though it'll still be a while before the parks are going to operate at 100% capacity again, most likely. Because of that limited capacity, Disney's using a park pass reservation system where you must book entrance to the park you want to visit each day in addition to having a park ticket. So you got to buy your park ticket, and you also have to book a reservation to go to the park you want to go to. You can book all the way into January 2023 at the moment, and if you're planning to go then and you've already got your tickets, go ahead and book now. You probably won't need to worry about January 2023 dates selling out this far in advance, but the biggest tip that I can give you is to book your park passes as early as possible. It's April, and we're seeing Hollywood Studios totally booked up into June right now. The 4th of July is booked up for Magic Kingdom, and Epcot and Magic Kingdom are booked solid for October 1st, which is Disney World's 50th anniversary and the opening of Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. So you see what I'm saying? You want to make those park passes as soon as you have your tickets so you aren't stranded without a way to get into your preferred park. If you spring for a park hopper ticket, you can always make a reservation at a different park, say Animal Kingdom, and then hop over to another park later in the day that may have been booked up when you were making park pass reservations. But remember, the park you're hopping to cannot be at capacity. So on October 1st, Magic Kingdom and Epcot might be at capacity all day. You might not be able to hop to those parks. Now, the park hopping isn't going to help you if you want to ride Rise of the Resistance in Hollywood Studios. You must make a park pass for Hollywood Studios if you want to ride that one. With park capacity likely increasing, it's also very likely that more park pass reservations will become available. We're following that over at DisneyFoodBlog.com, so stick with us. We'll let you know when new reservations become available, but be ready to act fast because they do sell out quickly. All right, character meet and greets. You still can't hug Mickey in Disney World, and this is one we just don't know when will come back, but you can still catch characters in the cavalcades, promenades, and flotillas in each of the parks. Plus, we're always seeing characters on stages or other safely distanced areas for you to snap a photo, and they do really cute things too. But you can't get autographs or hugs, and most importantly, you can't count on when they might show up. It's all sporadic, and nothing is listed in a times guide, so you kind of have to wing it with most of your character sightings. You can still book some character dining, though again, no hugs or autographs, but you will be guaranteed to see some characters at character dining. Chef Mickey's for the Fab Five, Hollywood and Vine for Disney Junior characters and Goofy in the morning, and Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, and Goofy at lunch and dinner. Garden Grill will bring you Chip and Dale along with Mickey and Pluto. Topolino's Terrace is Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy. Cinderella's Royal Table used to have all the princesses, but Cindy stops by once in a while now, and at Be Our Guest you will see the Beast. All right, speaking of dining, for table service meals, be ready to make a reservation in advance, since most restaurants require you to have reservations to dine there. If you aren't able to get an advanced dining reservation, you can check the new walk-up waitlist feature in the My Disney Experience app to see if any restaurants have last-minute reservations. This is basically a feature where you can figure out what has tables available now. If you're in the parks, you can swing by a restaurant and ask at the podium if there are any open spots as well. And always keep checking back. People change plans. And remember, there's a 24-hour cancellation window to not get charged a fee. So the day before you want to dine is a sweet spot for snagging a last-minute reservation. Now, at quick service restaurants, you'll want to check out if the place you want to dine is using mobile order. You can show up and pay cash if you absolutely need to, but mobile order is strongly suggested for all quick service restaurants to cut down on crowds. Now, when you place a mobile order on your My Disney Experience app, you'll pick a time to get your food. But those time slots fill up quickly, especially if they are popular eating times. So reserve your lunch spot early in the morning if you want to dine during regular lunchtime. New restaurants are being added all the time. Sleepy Hollow was just added, and that was our go-to for a lunch spot if you forgot to put your mobile order in. Just check to see if Where You Want to Dine has been added to the list so you aren't stuck without lunch when noon rolls around. We'll be updating our readers and newsletter subscribers with all the new restaurants that are offering mobile order, along with any other changes and news that might affect your trip. Sign up for that newsletter so you don't miss any of it. And if you sign up via DisneyFoodBlog.com/expectations, you can also get that list of all the info in this video too. Okay, now let's talk about closures. Disney is gearing up for that 50th anniversary, which means some things are getting spruced up along with the general maintenance that Disney rides need. Plus, we've got some big ride overhauls happening too, so expect some closures. Lots of construction too right now. All right, let's talk rides first. Jungle Cruise is not closing while the new scenes are being added. You might just not see some former animatronics, which might be a little weird, but hey, you still get some corny jokes. And Splash Mountain still does not have a closing date for that big Princess and the Frog overhaul, but if you love this ride, you're going to want to keep an eye on when that finally gets announced and expect wait times to skyrocket when it does. Many rides are having quick refurbs too. Mad Tea Party and the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse both had quick closures. We will likely see more of those, so always check the Disney refurb calendar or disneyfoodblog.com. We report on the refurbs every single week, and you can see what's going to be closed in the near future. There's nothing worse than your kid really wanting to ride a ride, or you really wanting to ride a ride, and you don't realize it's going to be closed when you're there. All right, hotels. Some are still closed with no reopening dates set yet. Port Orleans Resorts, All-Star Music and Sports, those don't have reopening dates at the moment. Animal Kingdom Lodge Jambo House is only open for DVC reservations, but there's no word on when regular hotel rooms will reopen to guests. Typhoon Lagoon is still closed, though Blizzard Beach has reopened if you want to visit a Disney World water park. And the Epcot monorail is still closed. The Polynesian monorail station is also still closed and under construction. We don't know when the line connecting the Transportation and Ticket Center and Magic Kingdom with Epcot will reopen, but the stop at the Polynesian should reopen this summer. And minivans are still not operational. These are Disney's direct partnership with Lyft, and it's a ride service, though you can still take a regular ride share in Disney World. There are lots of small refurb projects all over the place too. The castle stage is under construction, shops and ride facades are being painted all over the Magic Kingdom to spruce things up for the anniversary. The castle itself is getting a bunch of extra adornments that will be ready to go by October 1st, i.e. you get a crane in your castle shots right now. And the Main Street shops are basically playing musical chairs while the confectionery gets some work done. Check in on the My Disney Experience app or ask a cast member if you need help finding some of the merchandise you're used to getting on Main Street. You'll find confectionery items in the Main Street Cinema, though they don't have the full bakery case right now. All right, openings. It may seem like everything's closing or under construction, but we still have a lot of openings on the horizon. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure and La Crêperie are opening in Epcot's France Pavilion on October 1st. Disney's first new ride since Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, so we are super excited. Epcot is also getting a new Club Cool that's supposed to open sometime this summer, so we can hopefully once again trick our friends and family into drinking Beverly. There's also going to be a new big merchandise store in Epcot that's going to replace Mouse Gear, and eventually we'll get an opening date for Space 220. Who knows? Maybe it will be in 10 years, maybe it'll be in 10 days. Literally have no clue. We also have the full reopening of the Beach Club on May 30th, Wilderness Lodge on June 6th, and the Polynesian Village Resort in July. And the Boardwalk Inn on July 2nd. These hotel openings will hopefully mean we get some more restaurants back, like Ohana or Storybook Dining at Artist Point. Cross your fingers, cross your fingers. More live entertainment should also be coming back to the parks. Festival of the Lion King is slated to reopen with some changes in mid-May, but we may see others like the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular or Voyage of the Little Mermaid. We'll see. And if there's one thing you can for sure count on to happen leading up to your trip, it's changing park hours. It seems like Disney is extending hours all the time. This is especially true if you're headed to Disney when parks are booked solid around holidays and other special events. Sometimes extended park hours are only announced last minute, so you'll want to keep tabs on that leading up to your trip so you don't show up late when you were planning on hitting the park as soon as it opened. It may have opened an hour earlier than you expected. One thing to note when parks are open later is that not all food locations may stay open late as well. Plan to eat a little earlier so you aren't stuck munching on popcorn at 9 p.m. as your dinner, unless that's your thing. Also, keep notifications enabled on your phone. The My Disney Experience app will occasionally send pop-up notifications letting you know that certain rides may be staying open later than the parks. And park hopping hours may change. When park hopping first returned, Disney did note that the 2 p.m. start time may change in the future. And someday park hopping should be totally back to normal, so pay attention to that if you're shelling out the extra money on a ticket that lets you visit more than one park per day. Of course, park hopping depends on how full the parks are. You can check if parks are open for hopping by calling 407-560-5000. That's how you figure out if your second park of the day or your third or your fourth are at capacity or not. Now, the other thing you can 100% expect in Disney World right now is lines and queues. No Fast Pass means standby lines for every single ride. So even if they're not super long lines, it may take longer than if you had a Fast Pass. And you're going to want to plan accordingly for that extra time you might not be used to if you're a Disney veteran. There also may be lines for stores and virtual queues to get into those stores. There will typically be a QR code to scan or a cast member or employee to check with in the front of the store if you're looking to enter, and you'll get a text when it's your turn to shop. Stores also have dedicated entrances and exits, and lines for rides may go in directions you've never seen before. It can be real hard to figure out where the lines start or what lines are for, but we've got some handy maps over at DisneyFoodBlog.com that we created for you to help you navigate all the confusing lines in the parks. All right, that's a ton of stuff you should expect to encounter in Disney World this year, but how about all the things you shouldn't expect on your trip? Well, you should not expect to know what crowds will be like. Crowds will definitely start to pick up as more people are vaccinated and Disney's able to roll back capacity limits. But will the summer look normal? Will the fall be super crowded? Even if Magic Kingdom and Epcot are packed out on the 1st of October, will the other parks be crowded? It will be hard to predict crowd levels for the foreseeable future, which can make it tough to decide when you should visit Disney World. Because typically busy holidays over the past year have been oddly quiet. Thanksgiving was much less crowded than what we typically see, but the following weekend was a little more normal, though nothing like the packed holidays of years past. Spring break brought larger crowds this year, but again, nothing like normal, and we still found pockets of empty park. During spring break, we did see rides get ridiculous wait times, though. We're talking 40 minutes for the carousel in Magic Kingdom that never has a line. Crowds tend to form in certain areas of the parks while other areas are completely empty, so two people could have a very different experience when the parks are fully booked up. So in the past, we've sort of been able to gauge that crowds are going to be high on these particular days, but low on these particular days. Right now, it is completely up in the air. We never know what to expect when we are at the parks at the moment. Now, something else you shouldn't expect in Disney World right now is to know when things will return. Fast Pass, Disney Dining Plan, character meet and greets may come back this year, but we just really don't know when or if. It seems that this year's Epcot Food and Wine Festival will not have seminars or extra dining events, but if things are progressing positively, these could be added onto the festival partway through. Not that we've heard anything, it's just stand to reason that if Disney World is allowed to have more guests and reduce social distancing guidelines, they may be able to bring some activities back. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party may happen this year too, but we don't know when they would be announced or how they may be different. Fireworks could come back. Disney seems to be nearing completion on the Harmonious installation, but when might we see Epcot's new show? Basically, you'll need to plan your trip like these things aren't going to be around and then be ready to change gears real quickly if Disney decides to make an announcement. This is the stuff you'll want to keep a close eye on because it could have a big impact on your plans. Follow along here with us and sign up for our newsletter. I'm not even joking. We send that stuff out immediately. So if you want to know something first, this is the best way to find it out. We're going to make sure you have all the latest information and you know how to book things should Disney bring back any of those parties or Fast Pass or the dining plan. Follow our newsletter. We got the link down there in the description. I know I talk about it all the time, but I will say it is extremely popular and we seriously tell you everything. All right, hotel deals and flight deals. Don't expect them to stick around for a long time. Once people can safely return to Disney World, they likely won't have a hard time selling those rooms. And it may take some time, but people will return in massive numbers once again, and Disney won't have to work to get those hotels booked, which means fewer discounts. Those 40% off deals we've seen on hotels and the free ticket offers, they're going to disappear once the demand for a vacation goes back up. And I bet a lot of people are itching to go on vacation right now. Searches for how to plan a Disney trip are up 2,600% on Google at the moment. Now, flight searches are up 60% too, so don't expect those cheap flight deals to stick around too much longer. Rental car rates are already skyrocketing. Book your flights early because it seems that prices will be going up later in the year, and change fees are going to return. Right now, change fees have been waived for lots of travel-related services, including Disney vacation packages. But Disney's change fees are currently expected to go back into effect after April 30th, so be sure to look into any cancellation policies before you book your trip. Many airlines are starting to phase out their extended change fee timelines, so be sure to check if your ticket is refundable or changeable so you don't get stuck with a bunch of potential extra costs should you need to cancel or move your vacation. All right, and don't expect to have concrete plans. There are still lots of changes happening, and you need to go with the flow. Stay on top of all the latest info and be flexible. Like I said, you're going to want to triple check everything from health and safety policies to which rides are open, where you can eat, and when you need to order your food, and whether or not you're in for a bunch of unexpected costs if you book later in the year. We are here to keep you updated on everything. That's literally our job. That's why you watch us. So follow along with our videos, subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, follow us over at DisneyFoodBlog.com on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Sign up for our newsletter. The newsletter is where you're going to get the most up-to-date and in-depth info on everything going on in Disney World. I will stop talking about it now, I promise, but it is such a good deal. And if you're looking for some more concrete planning resources, like what's the atmosphere like at Disney World's most popular restaurants, or how to budget dining for a family of 4, pick up one of our guidebooks. We got massive, over 700 pages, I can't stop myself, ebooks, all about dining in Disney World, along with snack guides and festival guides for that food and wine festival, and all of it comes with a full money-back guarantee. Head to dfbstore.com, use code YouTube for a discount. Better yet, bundle some of our guidebooks for even bigger savings. These are 100% money-back guarantee books. As soon as you don't like it, we give you your money back. But that doesn't happen very often, thank goodness. All right, everybody, what you should and shouldn't expect in Disney World right now. Things are real different. Things are real weird. So hopefully this has helped you. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been useful and helpful as you plan your trips. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.